idea here, I think, as I explained, it's basically an informal boardroom. Then we have our host, so Vijetha. Very
Hey,
warm welcome,
Mayank.
sir.
Hi, Vijetha.
Hey, buddy. How are you doing?
Well, how are you?
All well, all well. Hey, Ashwin.
Hey,
So good.
Vijetha.
So
Good,
somehow
good
we
to get
couldn't make
you.
Mayank and Ashwin talk to each other before, but it's okay. Huh?
No, I
Great, great.
think okay. Just before this call, we had a fair conversation.
All right. So perfect, man. So listen, we keep it very simple and we keep it fun. Number one. Number two is thank you so much, Mayank and Ashwin, for joining in. It's a Sunday evening. It's also
No
family
problem.
time and it's recharge time, usually for founders as well. So, thank you for that so much. And we'll keep it simple. We'll keep it fun. Whatever you guys want to share is available easily for you on the screen share option.
Got
Okay.
it.
So that's it. Let's crack this, and it's going to be your show, okay, guys? So it's your platform, your conversation. Let's have fun with it. All right.
Sure,
Sure.
sure.
Perfect. So, Jagat, go to start.
Yes, sir. All over to you.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, good evening, everyone. This is a fun Sunday evening, 6:32, but we're a couple of minutes late. So, those who logged in, thank you so much. So, this is going to be conversations with two really wonderful gentlemen and people who are doing their best to grow. They're fighting it out. And Ashwin and Mayank, as I said, thank you so much for joining in. It will be really wonderful for all of us to understand the insights from you, the challenges you're facing, the kind of innovation that you're using. So, without delaying further, without any particular order, guys, so we keep it as a free flowing conversation. This is about talking about startups, talking about founders, talking about the challenges and insights. So, Mayank and Ashwin, over to you guys. Introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll take it from there. So, please go ahead. Thank you.
Sure.
Ashwin, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
No, I said, do you want to go ahead?
Oh, no issues. Okay, guys. Here is a quick intro about myself. As you know, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Customfit. I'm a BITS Millennial alumnus with more than 17 plus years of experience. I worked for multiple early stage startups, like from the from joining as a founding team member to growing the team to 250 plus. That's the kind of a journey which I had before starting Custom Fit. That's what actually got me the whole essence of going and choosing this entrepreneur journey, because already these years I have seen the companies built in front of me. Like how I participated, okay, how it enlightened the whole skills of going and showcasing something of your own to the next spot, right? So that's what the quickie thing. Before I would like to go and showcase just a little bit what custom fit is, I think okay, Mayank, you should go and introduce.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashwin. And Bits Pilani, we got to talk about that as well, right? That's the one of the hotbeds for all entrepreneurs and startups. I don't know which Bits Pilani. I mean, where you were, there's Goa,
It's a Pilani. Like mine is from Pilani. My other co-founder Shoaib is from Goa.
from Goa, huh? Very dangerous place. By the way, I've been brought up in Goa.
Oh,
So, but let's not, what happens in Goa stays in Goa. Let's not talk about it.
But I'll tell you one thing, Vijetha, it'll be interesting to see. I feel that there are more successful companies which have come out of BITS than IIT. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But I see a lot of guys in Bangalore, and the network of the BITS guys is also very, very strong, I feel.
Correct. It's a very close network. That's what actually is helping each and every people in that group.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. That's good to know.
Mayank, over to you, my friend.
Sure. Well, thanks a lot for having me, Vijetha. I really appreciate it. Happy to kind of share some of my thoughts or some of my struggles I've had so far. My name is Mayank Goyal, and I'm the founder of Hop Financial Solutions. We are a full stack cross-border neo-banking platform for urban millennials. We've been kind of going strong at it for the last 1 year. Prior to starting Hop, I have spent close to a decade living in London as an investment banker. I used to work as a quantitative portfolio manager with Merrill Lynch and a electronic stockbroker and derivative trader with Jefferies. But Marwari that I am, entrepreneurship has been in my blood. But more importantly, India was a very interesting opportunity for me. I kind of very idea even before I went abroad to study and to work was to kind of at some point come back and start something in India. And fintech was a natural choice given my inclination in technology and my experience in finance. And last year, I was visiting my hometown, Dehradun, and I wanted to open up a bank account in India's top tier private sector bank. So I visited my local branch for like 5 days in a row. Out of the 7 days, I was in Dehradun. They had me come in for 5 days, asked me for all sorts of paperwork, my photograph, utility bill, previous bank statements. And at the end of that, neither did I have a bank account, but I was rather left disgruntled with a terrible user experience. I'm like, this can't be. And I was coming from London, where we had seen the rise of challenger banks. We had seen Monzos and Revoluts, which could open up a bank account in 5 minutes. And I'm like, we kind of on the cusp of digital revolution when it comes to payments, but the banking experience as a whole is pretty broken. So spoke to about 400 odd people of various demographics and quickly understood that the banking system in India was branch based, in person, involved extensive paperwork, and there we thought to ourselves and we were like, well, how can we provide a customer centric technology enabled banking experience to an Indian millennial? And Hop was really born out of that.
Interesting, Mayank. And I think I like this, right? It always comes from the experience that you have where you feel that it's not up to it and can
Yeah,
we do better? And of
yeah,
course, I mean, I'm sure that both you and Ashwin do understand that it's not just about that aspect, but can you build it into a huge multi-million dollar revenue generating business?
yeah,
And of course, make lots of money because you're an investment back, banker background. So making money is important.
yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks. And Mayank, you know what? I didn't know about a Dehradun background, by the way. What a beautiful town is it, isn't it? It's
It's
so
nice.
gorgeous.
Nice.
It's a wonderful town, wonderful town.
Yeah.
Great. And Jagat, thank you so much for offering this platform with phone. And that's so kind of you. And for the audience, no, quickly a couple of minutes about what's the Bitphone story, how are things going for you? What's the challenges? Love to hear that.
Thanks, Vijetha. Thanks to Ashwin and Mayank coming in again. Of course, Bitphone, we're a video communications platform that is focused on helping startups grow their business. And the main, differentiator. I mean, of course, today we know what's the situation with video conferencing and webinars worldwide. But I think the big challenge today is not about purely conferencing or webinars. It's really about addressing the remote customer. And our platform is made so that businesses can attract, convert, and retain customers completely on live video. So probably one of a kind in that way, and happy to share my the challenges and the feedback as well very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's great, Jagat. Like basically, I am from video background. I don't know whether you know. Like almost 10 years, I worked for video thing, building all these kind of the video stuff. My last company was Blue Jeans Network, where I joined as a founding team member. Right, so that I can pretty much relate what you're talking to because that's my past life.
Right.
It used to be.
Okay,
I'm,
fantastic.
I'm living your past life.
Okay. So, guys, coming down to what we are looking at working on today, Mayank and Ashwin. See, this is an informal boardroom, right? So, we want to talk about what we discussed earlier on, a couple of challenges that you guys are facing. Okay, so that it's on Facebook Live, it's on YouTube, and with phone TV, etc. So it's a shout out that you can create. It's your platform. Okay, so whoever wants to go first, and if you have something prepared, just would love to hear from you guys. What are the challenges you are facing? How are things looking for you for the next 6 months? Whoever wants to go first, and keep it as crisp as possible, so that we can really dwell deep and get into it. Whoever,
Perfect, perfect.
thank you.
Let me just take it out. Let me
Sure,
just
please,
even
please.
share my screen.
Yeah, share your screen.
Before I talk about the challenges, right, I would like to just showcase what custom fit is,
Yes, yes,
right?
please.
So
Go ahead, go ahead,
that
Ashwin.
will help the context well.
Of course.
So let me just
Yeah,
give me a moment.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
guys seeing my screen?
Yes, yes, we can hear your screen.
Perfect.
And for the audience, just click on the screen which Ashwin is sharing, and it will occupy the full screen for you to take a better look. Yeah, go ahead, Ashwin. Go for it.
Perfect, perfect. So, in a nutshell, right, custom fit is all about like how can you convert your website traffic to quality leads, right? So, in a nutshell, like basically, companies spend a lot of money in driving the traffic to their website, right, through various channels, various means like outbound emails, push notifications, SEO corrections, social media ads. And once a visitor lands on your website, basically the tool's job is done, right? How can you convert those visitors to quality leads? So that's where actually we tackle into. So we help companies to convert their website into number one growth engine by specifically changing the entire pitch of the website as if it's been custom made to that particular visitor, depending upon who the visitor is. It's a completely no-code tool platform, where actually you can go as a marketer, you can go and create the different experiences of the website and target, hey, as if you are sitting right behind the laptop screen when a particular visitor lands on, you know exactly what to showcase to him. Right, we are specifically targeting with respect to the B2B, like for the B2B companies, specifically B2B SaaS, where they are trying to target the different segment of the audience, and how can actually you change the entire pitch as if it's been in line to what they are looking at, right? So yeah, here comes like we launched our platform pretty like last year end, through kind of the different pivots. We started with a different product altogether as a backbuckle, and then it pivoted to custom fit, right? So we launched, okay, 2 quarters back, I think, in a way that it's last December end. And now within these 2 quarters we got, okay, some very good set of the big customers online, like they are using our platforms and all. So the current challenge what we are trying to face, is one of the thing is a key, like now we and also you guys know that we recently raised our first round, avc round. Like it's related to the resource engagement, in sense, okay, how can we go and get the specific resource. Like my challenge is related to the getting the non-tech resource, in sense with respect to marketing and sales, since our aim is to be a global reach. Basically we are trying to do a global reach, specifically now targeting with respect to the US and UK markets, and basically Europe markets. That's one of the thing. And while we are in that, now we just passed that initial phase, now we are trying towards the growth trend. So we are also trying to get our hands dirty with a bunch of the different growth tools available over there. So that's the current condition we are currently into.
Nice, very nice, Ashwin. So, Ashwin, one
I
question.
like the fact that Ashwin has used his own website to demonstrate his challenges.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So resources, global reach, and growth tools, right? So
Okay.
can I, Ashwin, if you don't mind, I want to just kind of quickly understand this. What do you mean by resources? I talk about people. If I'm not wrong.
Correct. Here, actually, yeah, that's the reason I try to put the logo kind of the
Okay, yeah,
resource
I
over
understood.
there,
So
right?
understood. So you're
So
looking for
correct.
people. Okay.
So like, yeah, so currently, to be very frank, okay, if you see the Indian startups, right, they are really good at the tech side. I mean, like basically, like these top minds, they join these kinds of tech thing and all. So when it comes to the the business side of the flow, whether it's the marketing, sales, so that's where actually now we are trying to build our team. Like basically, like we say that, hey, the food is ready. It's all about the selling, right? So that's where actually now we are trying to get the niche resource, like who can help us out with respect to our global reach funder, what we are looking at. Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. So that's about, so okay, you're looking for resources because you want to hire. You're definitely looking at more customers and global reach. And when you say growth tools, Ashwin, is it about marketing that you're looking for, or what exactly? Can we just deep dive into that? What do you mean by growth tools?
Yes, yeah, true. So currently, okay, if you see, we are trying to like trying to try out a bunch of the different tools which can help us with respect to driving the more traffic, and also with respect to the conversion. So like along with our own thing, right? So like for example, okay, like as I said, the custom fit is all about once the visitor lands on your website, how can you convert it out? Like we are
Okay,
trying to go
understood.
towards the other side, like how can you drive the traffic onto the website?
Okay,
So
understood.
that's the
Perfect.
kind of it.
Perfect. So let's summarize this. So you're looking at resources because you want to hire people, global reach because definitely 100% you want to go, reach out to customers, potential customers all over the world. And growth tools is that, okay, they come to the website. How do you convert them? How do you make sure that whatever
Correct.
leads and
Yeah. So the
objectives?
conversion part is already with the custom fit. Like we are trying to reach at the other end. Like how can you drive the traffic? So that's the perfect match there.
Understood. Perfect. So as we discussed that this is a open session, this is an informal boardroom. So Jagat and Mayank, keeping Ashwin's thought process in mind, and let's imagine that you are wearing the hat of someone who can advise, mentor, guide. Would you like to ask him some more deeper questions? Can you offer some insights from?
Yeah. I mean, see, yeah, I can certainly, have a stab at it, Ashwin. You're absolutely right. I think having the right combination of kind of engineering and sales and marketing team is very important.
Correct.
I think a lot of us who are product guys have a lot of focus on building the product, but in that process somehow forget the fact that we need equally good, or if not better, salespeople to be able to sell it. Right? I
Correct.
have myself found myself in a situation where I am kind of a bit more reluctant to spend on sales and marketing budget than I am on engineering, right? And I think that mentality kind of is changing now in me, and I think I'm not saying that that's perhaps your approach as well, but I think having the right balance is certainly more important there. Secondly, I think you're absolutely right. The product that you've built certainly has, as most of the SaaS products in India certainly have perhaps a bigger market, or should I say a more lucrative market from a monetization standpoint abroad, right? So I think it's kind of important to see if you can build a connection through your existing investors or the larger ecosystem. I mean, perhaps Vijetha, you can also help out through the TIE Connects to have maybe kind of a sales guy or kind of a business development guy in the Bay Area or something like that. Which could, to begin with, which could very well be kind of a commission based or something like that, wherein the overheads are not particularly high, but getting that inside, first step into the North American market in the Valley, I think is perhaps going to be, I feel, quite important.
Of
True,
course,
true.
definitely,
True,
Mike. So, I mean, Mike, you do also know that we have a Thai chapter in Silicon
Yes.
Valley. We have been doing some stuff with some of these chapters. Of course, UK, you know about. Definitely, Ashwin, we'll figure out what can be done here. Okay.
Perfect.
And what about people? So, guys, when you say resources and people, how are you going about finding people? Are you advertising? Are you putting it on a LinkedIn? Are you sharing it on WhatsApp groups? How are you going about getting resources?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, Ashwin.
Yeah.
It's your on
Yeah.
the
So
spotlight now. It's your game.
correct.
And
Sure,
after
sure.
that is
No, no.
after
I
that is
think
my
that it's a
first
continuation
you.
of the
First is you.
conversation. Correct.
No, no, first
So
is you.
yeah, we started with a bunch of the tools, like in sense. Okay, now we are putting onto the social media post. We are in also connect with the different consultancies, the HR consultancies, and also like Angelco, LinkedIn, a bunch of the stuff where we are putting it out. So like last 1 month or so, we are spending much time because of like one of the learning from me from since my past and all. Okay, the first set of the resources is very very important, because as you don't have the leverage to go and experiment it out and then realize that, hey, this is something which is this thing, right? It's not working out for you. So that having a little bit of patience in getting the right set of resource will definitely get you to a bigger like it's a kind of huge jump, right? So that's where actually we are trying to be very steady and focused in finding the right resource and not just jumping, hurrying up or closing this thing in a matter of a week or something,
Understood.
right?
Understood.
So that's where actually now, like basically from the various different channels we are trying to get that thing, but somehow we are trying to again polish it out and all. In that process, okay, I felt that, okay, hey, it's not that great resource available with respect to what you like, what's a combination of the different like what's offering and what kind of the the skill sets they have and all.
Okay.
That's where actually we are trying to
Understood.
help
Understood. So,
get some
Ashwin,
help. That's
I think you should just take a quick look at what Mayank is doing also in his
is
LinkedIn
it
profile,
okay?
right? He's put it on his LinkedIn profile that he's looking to hire, people, full stack developers, etc., etc. He talks about it, etc. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of companies and founders, they try to talk about the fact that it's also a very good branding tool. I mean, I'm sure you, Jagat and Mayank, if you can also share about that. Talking about it, you're expanding, you're looking for, what kind of people you're looking for is also a very nice marketing and branding tool. So maybe you can consider that.
Mhm.
Mayank, any inputs from your side on that?
Yeah. So see, I think one of our top challenges certainly is resources as well. I think that is the case for predominantly most of the startups, because as I think Ashwin very well put out, that having the right people can be kind of a make it or break it scenario, right? And as with most founders, I feel that there is certainly an element of skepticism whether this is going to work out or not, whether synergies are going to map or not. Of course, in an ideal scenario, you would have known the guy you want to hire, for the last 4 5 years. But it's very, very, very difficult for him to be at the right point in time in his life to be able to make the switch, have the right perhaps financial cushion, and so on and so forth, right? The other thing I find it is that we haven't seen a lot of realization of equity as a compensation mechanism in India. So most of the people who are decent or who are kind of knowledgeable are looking for a higher cash component than equity component, which I find bizarre. But I do understand the background, because, as I said, we haven't seen as much realization of startups, becoming unicorns in the West as we are in India as we have in the West, right? So that makes it certainly more challenging. But what we have tried to do is that we tried with all sorts of recruitment companies. I don't think they work at all. I don't. There's so much time we've wasted working with a lot of these recruitment companies, because typically these recruitment companies are going to try to push candidate from blue chip companies. and that doesn't work, right? Because the mentalities don't match, they don't have the right, perhaps, forward-looking attitude and so on and so forth. So the channels which have worked for us is certainly network, right? People that I know who might know somebody. Channels that certainly AngelList is certainly a very good platform, and I think LinkedIn is a better platform as well than the recruitment tools, recruitment companies. I think that certainly that's worked out for us. But I think I'm also echoing my personal thoughts. As when we also face this issue wherein we say, we don't know whether this guy is going to work out or not, and in that process we end up delaying the decision. I think the founders gotta man up a little bit and kind of take that decision quickly, right? Maybe it's a higher iterative process, but not taking a decision, I think it has personally hampered me as well. Because it takes a lot of time for us to kind of get the guy. Then even then, it might not work out, right? Even if rather than the process being squeezed into 1 week, even if it's expanded into a month's time, still there's no guarantee that the person is going to work out. So I think it's probably fail fast kind of an attitude that we probably need to adopt to, and perhaps hire. And if it is not working out, have the courage to fire them as well.
Correct. That's well said, Mayank. Like, even if you see what we are also doing, like in that thing, the priority is towards the network kind of the thing. Basically, how can we get the referral candidates, because that works really well and come to any other sources, right? So that's the stage. And you're right. Okay, in that case, also, like, even like what I said. Okay, like we are trying to make sure that we get the right candidate. At the same time, okay, we have this kind of we call it as a starvation plan. Like, that's what actually we say. Like, we'll say that, okay, how long, okay, we can keep this guy on, like, like we keep hunt for this particular thing. So there is a starvation graph, what actually I discussed with the team. So you can't starve for long, otherwise you will die, right? So that's the one thing which we are following. Well said.
No, I think that's very. Hey, Mike, one more aspect is, just for both of you, keep in mind that while hiring, firing is one thing, but always, even though you're a small team now, I think getting a good branding, getting a good culture going, and creating beautiful, processes for hiring, training will also help you guys as you expand, because you won't have time as founders going forward. Okay, keep that in mind also, right? It's not just about today, but tomorrow you have 5 people to hire. Then what do you do? As a founder, are you supposed to sell? Are you supposed to build a product? Or are you supposed to just focus on, one small element? I mean, you have to be very careful about that. Awesome, but nice inputs, very nice inputs. One small thing, Ashwin, if you don't mind, just get back on the screen. Just stop the share now.
Oh, let me just share.
We are done with your slides, right? So we'll have you on screen.
Done.
Perfect. So Mayank, I would like you to kind of prepare your stuff as well. Okay.
Sure.
Before that, Jagat, you have also been, a small team. You have been looking at people. So how are things going on for you, and how are you going to make sure that, as an organization, as a culture, how do you build things to the maximum?
It's always, I think, the biggest challenge as a startup. And I've told you before, I take the word company very literally. Company literally means, who are you sitting with? What is the company? And what I've always found is that, when you're a startup, the founder or the co-founders play a huge role in attracting young people. I think people who come into your platform or come into your company, all they really trust or they really have is the co-founders. And I think, for probably both, for myself as well, and of course Ashwin, I think one of the important things is to get out there, is to do probably webinars where you're, transferring that culture out to the audiences. And I think that is very important, because you don't have like the huge, HR department that large companies have. Senior, junior executives doing all the posts. So I think it really has to be more pull based, as opposed to the typical Glassdoor and LinkedIn kind of. Of course, LinkedIn is useful, but you can't go to the monsters and mockeries, right? I think it's really about you getting out there and young people wanting to join you in your mission. I think that mission oriented recruitment works. And of course, it's a sad thing to say, but I've always said this: we look at hire slow, fire fast. In a startup, you have to be very, very careful about yourself. So we look at hire slow, fire fast. Always been our philosophy. Not that we like to fire a lot of people, but we are very careful, because I've always said this before, right? The weakest performer in your team is your weakest and biggest link, and the whole team kind of comes to that level, right? I think we should be very cautious as a startup. It's okay not to have that person, but I think, take up as a founder, you take up extra tasks and finish it off, but never ever settle for people who are not A plus players. I think that's a mistake we have made before, but I think we have learned and we are very very brutal on that. We be very careful. Just for the sake of hiring, never hire anyone.
True, true.
Yeah.
No, in like in my past company also, right? I will tell you, whether it's a Blue Jeans or even Life Size Communications. That's I joined as a very early member. They have this philosophy that they used to take a lot of interviews, like some 50, 60 interviews, and they used to hire one. Even 100 interviews, they used to hire one. It's that kind of the very very precise thing, right? I like sometimes actually, I myself referred bunch of my good friends. They are really good, but some of them got rejected. Like I went and asked my manager, telling that, hey, this he is really smart, like why you guys they used to take some 10 rounds of different interviews and all, and finally that fellow used to go out, right? So one of the thing what I heard from them was, it's like the Indian judicial system, right? So एक अपराधी को एक निरपराधी को भी सजा नहीं हो सकता है. It's in that way, right? So like it's okay to not hire a good guy, but you should not hire one bad guy. So that's the thing that got deep rooted, and that's true, that worked. But yeah, in case of the startups, even like it just started startups or just funded startups, right? So where you have the limited resource, limited time, because you as a founder is juggling around a lot of different stuff and all, and hiring being your paramount thing, because that's what actually will take you to the next level, right? That has to be a well balanced, well said.
Absolutely. Well said, Ashwin.
Another small add-on there. Before I mute myself, what I've also found is that as startups, one thing we have to understand is that our people are our investment. As founders, we invest a lot in ourselves, but many times you might find somebody who's coming in as a junior role, and you hire them keeping in mind a 5-year window, saying that this is where really we want to take your career. And I think that's again a big part. Founders should play that as founder CEO. I think we have to take up that huge responsibility, right? Because a lot of times you might find that the high value hire sometimes it's not always a great fit in your company, right? You want someone fresh and someone who can learn with you. But I think in our case, again, I would say it's worked very well. Akhil, I must just take, as a case in point, I think pound to pound, one of the best developers in the country. Very, very proud of the way he's grown with us. And I think it's all long term, right? I mean, people can make hundreds of mistakes here with us. It doesn't matter. If you have integrity and you're honest, I think that's a fit for life. So I've learned, and I think all startup founders, maybe it helps thinking this way.
No,
Yeah.
that's very true, Jagat. Like if I see, even if you take my case, right? Like I got a very first hire by name Abhishek Matmari. So he joined as a QA engineer. In sense, okay, is a kind of the full stack guy, but he joined for the QA role because at that time we only had that thing. So because of his just pure dedication, that kind of the stickiness, okay, this thing we have promoted it into COO level. So that's the kind of the attitude when someone shows the very like as a founder kind of the attitude from the very level. So it's great. Okay, no one can match that level.
Yeah. I mean, I would just add my 2 cents there. I mean, the two things certainly that we look out for, and I talk a lot with my team is firstly the hunger, right? I mean, you don't necessarily need to have known everything, but you need to have that hunger and that raw talent to be able to pick up things as and when you go, right? Because if I am looking for a guy who's already done this, then I'm looking for somebody who has 15, 20 years of experience. That kind of person that neither I don't want like that caliber of person. As you said, Jagat, we want people to grow with the team with a long term view. And the second thing we talk a lot about is founders mentality, right? Like in the Hindi books, we used to say that when some like you need to have integrity when nobody's watching you, right? So similarly, you need to be able to deliver even if you're not told to do so. And that hunger, I mean, if I can say, I've seen a lot of that coming from chaps from tier two towns. I don't want to generalize this, and by no means am I saying that people who live in two towns are not hungry. But I see a lot that people who've come from tier two towns have to prove themselves from a very long time in their career growth, right? And that becomes an inherent characteristics that I look out for when we are looking to hire people.
Makes sense.
Awesome. Nice, Mayank. Mayank, would you like to start with your sharing? Oh, sorry, Jagat, you can do.
I'm sure that I want to mention this also. Similarly with Akhil, I would say Akhil joined us 4.5 years ago as a fresh engineer, and the kind of talent he had. I mean, he was my fourth CTO. After 6 years, I had 3 CTOs, and he was my fourth. And I must say this because I don't know if he's watching or not. He may watch it later, but he's moved from there to CTO And just last week, I welcomed him into our board of directors as well. So he's today a director with us. So that's, I think, a reflection of his work, not what we are doing.
Exactly. True.
Nice. Hey, Mayank, would you like to kind of go ahead?
Sure,
With
sure,
your-
absolutely. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as I kind of said that we are a full stack cross border neo banking platform, predominantly for urban millennials, and what we are really trying to build is the fact that we've observed that urban millennial is spending a lot more time on their mobile phone. We observe the fact that these guys are technology driven people who want to try new jobs. These are the people who want to Uber it rather than getting their driving licenses. These guys want to Swiggy rather than cooking. These people they're global citizens who want to travel the world, live in different parts across the globe, don't necessarily want to buy a house on mortgage. These people want to invest, but don't have the mechanisms or the knowledge to be able to do so. These guys may run out of cash at the end of the month and need a little credit to get through. They value instant gratification, transparency and convenience over anything else. And with all this going on, the banking system hasn't really evolved with the evolving needs of an average 29-year-old Indian millennial. So what we are building is kind of a mobile-first platform with a global outlook where everything happens on the app. You download the app, you're digitally onboarded and instantly given a multi-currency bank account with a card. The application enables you to do save, invest, borrow, and spend all on the app. It also enables you to conduct 0% markup currency transaction by clicking a few buttons within the app. Hop card is an amalgamation of FX, credit, and debit card. All of this with great user experience and customized rewards. So we've been kind of building this for the last year or so, and we're looking for a full launch in about 4 to 6 weeks' time. So of course, when we've been kind of building this platform, there's a lot of issues that we have faced. We wanted to go to the market with the travel as an angle, keeping in mind the aspirational value of the urban millennial. But of course, COVID kind of disrupted that go-to-market plan. So we had to pivot a little bit and concentrate a little bit more on the domestic banking needs of an urban millennial. So that journey has been relatively smooth for us. We didn't face much issues because the platform we were building the product on has been relatively strong, right? So while we're building that, the few challenges that we face, which I would want to highlight and perhaps pick up the panelist view on are the following, right? So firstly, I felt that the challenges that we have faced, right, have kind of changed every quarter, right from when I kind of started out, I thought to myself, once I get the banking partnership over the line, the sky is the limit and nothing is really stopping us. But obviously, there were different set of challenges that came through, and I feel that shows the evolving nature or the life cycle of the startup, which I feel is a good thing. But currently, I think the three issues that we are facing is certainly building the right team, right? And as I think we've spent sufficient time kind of talking about that, the right team doesn't necessarily always mean engineering. I think product and distribution are equally important, because even if you build a super awesome product, we need the right team to be able to sell that. And I think this is kind of going to be an ongoing process. I heard Karan from White Hat Junior speak about it when he said that even before he sold the company, 50% of his time was being spent on hiring, right? So that kind of tells you that hiring the right people will never really stop.
Yes, correct.
The other thing we feel is we find a little bit challenging is putting processes in place. Because there is nobody kind of we want to grow from a 12 member team that we are right now to 100 member team in the near future, right? And for us to do that, we feel that, at least I feel that the processes need to be able to stringent processes need to be in place, not to the extent which hamper your productivity, but at least to the extent where it's easily replicable, right? If we hire 5 more engineers tomorrow, they should be able to follow that document, or that one engineer should be able to guide them, get onboarded quickly in a week's time, right? So I feel that that's something we're looking to do. I won't say we are kind of nailed it by any means. I think we are evolving by the day, but I think we're certainly looking to see how can we better put processes in place. Lastly, I would feel that it's a very kind of fintech specific challenge is building trust. Right, we are living in a country where SBI is the most trusted bank, even when the servers are down half of the time. Right, because people think that it's kind of a state-owned bank, and hence it's never going to go bust. Right, which theoretically is true, but technically anything can happen. So for us to be able to build trust with our potential customers in the fintech sector, I think is going to be a key challenge for us in the near future. So I'm going to kind of stop there at the moment, Vijetha, and let you take it from here.
Perfect. Hey, thanks, Mayank. That's very succulently and very carefully put together. So I would just talk about this factor, right? So when you say the processes work, so what are your personal productivity tools also as a founder? Because that's important. Because you have an X amount of people right now. You're talking to sponsors. You're talking to people who, when I say sponsors, means you need people who invest in you. You need people who will market you. You need people who will bet on you, correct? And for whatever they can bring to your table. And then you need to hire. You need to so many things that you're doing as a founder, whatever it is, right? So what are the kind of productivity tools and processes that you're putting into place? Number one, can you talk about that a bit more deeper?
Yeah. Sure. So see, what do we use? We use kind of Google for sure, right? Google Meet is something that Google Suite is what we use. So we kind of constantly on Google Hangout meetings whenever we want it. We use Slack extensively. We have different channels we've created on Slack. One is kind of an overall Hop internal channel. We have external people also on channels, which helps us easily kind of communicate, right? We also have digital channels on Slack where only guys who are involved in sales and marketing and design team will be a part of, and so on and so forth. We also use Jira extensively, and not just for the engineering folks. We also use it for non-engineering folks. So anytime anything that I want somebody to do, or anything that comes out of the meeting, the first thing we do is that we put it on Jira. That ensures that there is some documentation around it, which takes only 5 seconds, and it's not lost, right? Because early on in the development of the team or on the product, there'll be thousands of ideas floating around, and we don't want to miss anything there, right? It could be a small change on the website. It could be a small design change. It could be talking to a potential vendor or partner that you want to work with. Everything goes on the Jira, right? And lastly, we also use Confluence and quite a bit. Confluence and Google Docs. So we have different folders we've created: content, sales and marketing, investors, and the relevant people have access to the relevant folders. And I'm extremely strict about the fact that any documentation that's being created kind of goes in the right folder. Because if we start creating documents right, left, and center, then there is no central place for us to do so. And this doesn't happen easily, Vijetha. It's a human behavior, and it takes time to change. So people, you have to constantly remind people, the team, and I think after like a month or 2 months, people kind of get used to it. So that's how we try to do it.
Fantastic. And there will be a little bit of pushback. You have to spend some time on training as well. Mm-hmm. It's not just that do it and it'll happen. You have to spend time on making them understand why it is important.
Exactly.
And this again is a bandwidth. It's again an investment of time, energy, and money, Mayank, from your side. Interesting. Okay, then let's talk about trust. So getting the customers to trust Hop, right? Because it's money. Ultimately, it's about their hard-earned money. So what are the processes, systems, and thought leadership or the communication that you're doing to make sure that this trust factor gets taken care of?
Yeah. So see, I'm a big believer of behavioral economics. I mean, that's something I've studied quite a bit. I not just in college, but also when I was in the banking sector, and I'm a big follower of Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, who've written this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. Right. So these are these two Israeli chaps who won the Nobel Prize for the risk aversion theory that they came up with, which kind of says that the risk appetite of an investor is much higher when you're losing money than when you're winning money. Which means that if you're up $10, you probably want to close your bet because you want to crystallize it. But if you're down $20, you still want to keep your bet open because you want to come back to zero. Now, as a follow-up of that, there's a gentleman called Daniel Ariely, who is the behavioral economics professor at Yale University. So I interact quite a bit with with Dan, who used to be a student of these two guys who won the Nobel Prize, and he has Netflix documentaries, and he's written 4 or 5 books around that, and we talk extensively about how to build trust within the Indian system, which has an inherent distrust embedded into it, right? I'm sure all of us, when we left our home, our parents sat us down and told us that, never leave your luggage at any place. We're the kind of people, when a maid comes into a house, we make sure that all the electronic gadgets and wallets are stored at the right place, right? Now, in this society, we're trying to build trust as an unknown entity amongst people who don't really know us, and as I said, kind of might very well bank with SBI, even though they have terrible user experience. With all due respect to SBI, so it's a very difficult process, Vijetha. But one thing we found is that an element of fairness needs to be there, right? Transparency and fairness is what builds trust, right? If I want to charge you 5 rupees or 10 rupees, and if I tell you upfront, you don't feel cheated. You don't feel like, yeah, isn't the bataya nahi, and tomorrow is kind of charging me that amount of money, right? So, and on top of that, if you're fair, right, if you demonstrate to the client that I'm charging you this because this is my cost or whatever that is, I think certainly brings an element of trust. The other thing is that we are an RBI regulated entity. So whenever we're able to communicate to the client that, we're not a fly by night shop, and we're not going to run away with your money because we have this RBI regulations in place that we have to abide by. And we're also banked by Visa as a partner, and 81 regulated bank. I think those elements we try to communicate through a social media platform, through a website, which it's an ongoing process, but that's how we're trying to do that, Vijetha.
Interesting, very interesting, right? So it's about trust in the team, trust in you, trust that you not, run away with money. It's all about money. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So keeping these 3 elements in mind, I would like to get Ashwin and Jagat very crisp, bullet pointed, because just keeping the interest of time that we're 7:15 now. Ashwin and Jagat, over to you guys. Very crisp insights, some help, some support, some resources that you could share with Mayank among the 3 challenges that he's talking about: team, process, and trust.
Yeah, like I think team. I think we discussed both from the both the ends, right? Like I would like to give some info about the process thing, what we are doing. Like for
Yeah.
example, we are also using all these kind of the Slack, Jira, and all, right? So nowadays we started experimenting with one thing called as FAQs. Like we are trying to bring our own blue book, whether it's with respect to the sales thing or marketing, even actually internal QA thing, engineering thing, and all. So like in that blue book, it's a kind of like we are also experimenting with short video snippets. Like we try to play ourselves a role, like a role play thing. Like we want to document in a short 2-minute videos what was the conversation, so that the next employee who comes on board, or even actually we ourselves want to go and look out that thing. So like exactly the problem, the thing is we can't document everything, and it takes some time.
Yeah.
Right. So what actually we're trying to come up with is now, a bite-sized videos where actually we are trying to capture as if we are trying to role play that I'm the customer, you are this thing. What kind of the questions he asked, how we answered them, what actually needs to improve. So that one thing, along with the documentation, what actually we use the wiki thing, like internal wiki for the documentation, where we are also trying to move with the Asana and all other tools
Right.
currently. So, but yeah, that is helping us out because we can refer back in the history. It's like our own, replay back what happened, how we dealt. Like because every expression, every even the kind of the words, what kind of the the emotions he played, that will be over there. So
Right.
that's one thing that's helping us, even not just the like sales and marketing, even the engineering side also. So we try, and also we try to do something called as a meets called as future fit. That's what actually we like. It's a kind of the meet directly with the customers. They help us understanding their priorities and all, help us in like prioritizing our process, like how actually we need to everything, whether it's a roadmap meeting or whether it's a sales call meeting and all those things.
Right.
We openly discuss with our customers like every month, it used to be 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, that actually again it will go documented, and the priorities will change. So that's kind of
Right.
it's a kind of we always keep on reinventing or tweaking the process, what
Right.
it's going on. That's one thing that can come from my side.
No, that's good to hear. I think this kind of internal wiki certainly makes sense, be it in the video form or written format. which people can refer back to and say, and probably, hopefully, it kind of evolves over time and becomes a much more exhaustive resource for people to consult. Yeah, that makes sense, Ashwin. Thanks for that.
Okay.
Fantastic,
That's-
fantastic. Okay, Mayank, can you just go back to full screen for yourself rather than just the screenshot?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Huh? So Mayank, I mean, Jagat, you would like to kind of give some input because, see, I think this is across the board. A lot of founders are struggling with this, and I would like to give I would like more resources to be shared around processes. Okay, and how do you build this trust? Because I mean, Jagat, you also need a lot of customers to work with you, onboard with you, pay you as a subscription, etc. Right? So trust and processes. I would like some inputs from you, please.
Yeah. No, great. Because just a quick recap. We started this whole video business when it's 2016. Before Google Duo, we launched Livewire, which was our video chat app. And one of the reasons I did that was because 7% of India knows how to read and write English. And that was a staggering statistic for me. I said 90 odd percent of the country is outside the fold of actual productivity, internet productivity. Video, as I just shared on the comments as well, a couple of notes, right? One is that we are introducing something called Vmail, which is voice and video mail, probably the first in the world. I think Vmail is going to be a game changer for everybody because what I say is today we live in a no touch, full trust economy. That's the way things are. And I think Vmail is going to play a very big role. It's very much like what Ashwin is saying 2-minute video, 1-minute video, etc. But this is more about asynchronous video communications. As we can see, video conferences are synchronous talking, but you need asynchronous aspect. And I think that's going to play a huge role.
Yeah.
Again, coming to, also we had very advanced discussions with HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI, and all of this was regarding vid KYC. Video KYC, I think, is going to be a big game changer. It's already started today. It's not yet, I would say, become mainstream. But I think in the next 1 year, 1.5 years, you will find that video KYC is becoming the norm. It's already becoming. I mean, I just opened an IDFC account recently. I don't know if you guys have tried the IDFC Bank. Quite interesting. 7% savings rate of interest. And they opened the account for me in 5 minutes, right outside my apartment. I was mind blown, right? So I just
to add to that, Jagat, so we can now open up account with 30 clicks, a full-fledged bank account with 30 clicks.
30 clicks.
Yeah.
That's still quite a lot.
That's less than 3 minutes.
Less than 3 minutes. Okay, great. No, I think, So I think one thing is that, and in this 2020s, what I'm generally seeing is that, and my line is, your face is as important as the logo.
Yeah.
In terms of brand.
Yeah. We got to keep fit, all of us then.
Sorry?
We got to keep fit, all of us then.
Oh, yes. Keep fit. Otherwise, you have good filters.
But to your point, Jagat. So when I communicate with this behavioral economist professor at Duke, we only have we don't have video, but we have only voice text. So I will record it and I'll send it as on the email. He'll record it and he'll send it back as an email.
No, it's wonderful. I think because Vmail, even when we're doing Vmail, people think it's video mail, but I tell them no, it's voice and video mail because even voicemail, I think it's really not happened the way it should, right?
Yeah.
But I think one is trust when people see the face, and today it's all available. I'm not trying to sell Bitphone here. It's just my belief overall. When people are not able to meet, the best way for them to get trust is to see the other person. Mm-hmm. And if they see the team, founder, even troubleshooting issues become very, very comfortable, right? I mean, generally you have an irate customer on the phone, but the moment you're face to face, I think the whole tone of the discussion comes down. Yeah. So this is, a couple of things. I think Vmail, vid KYC, these are the two main things. Processes, we keep it very simple. We have been on Asana since 2011, and it's just, I swear by it. I don't know, guys who have seen the Social Dilemma recently, you will see this guy, Dustin Rosenstein. And Rosenstein and Dustin Moskowitz started the Asana, and I'm such a big fan of them. Asana, I just cannot get out of it. We tried Slack, we tried a ton of other stuff. Nothing works for us. So process, we keep it very simple. It's just Asana, and that's like one stop for us. Of course, we toy around with other tools, but yeah, my quick 2 cents. Yeah, I think with Vmail, video KYC really solves the trust issue in a big way, and it's a brand new way of processes itself, right? So video KYC just expedites the whole, opening an account process quite quickly.
I am now thinking that would it be interesting to see even the customer support? So we have channels like WhatsApp, we have obviously asynchronous chat, we have email, we have phone. But I think it'd be interesting to integrate perhaps some sort of a video chat solutioning as well, wherein you just click and you can chat to somebody. I think that's interesting. I think we'll certainly think about that.
No, definitely. I think it's a huge thing. Not only, one is that there is a customer support aspect, as you said, Maya. Yes, it kind of builds a lot of rapport and but more importantly, it gives you massive upselling opportunities. I've seen people who have a product and they come with a problem, and then within 2 minutes the average handling time really comes down on video compared to voice. And once you're done with the thing, you can actually go start upselling and say, okay, based on your performance, this product, and then it actually gives you an upselling opportunity. So it's a double-edged sword. It's both customer support and also sales.
True. That makes sense.
Interesting. So talking about double-edged sword, right? So how much work do you guys do on interacting and building these customer focus groups, looking at customer to validate your product, etc., right? So because that's also about trust. It's also about building the pipeline of customers, etc., Your branding also happens because of that. So what do you guys do? I mean, bullet pointed, but what is it that you're focusing on around that?
We do a lot of that, Vijetha. We do a lot of that. We are a massive believer of co-creating with the customer. I don't want to solve a problem that's existing in my head, or that was my personal problem. Right? When I started this product back in the days, I spoke to about 70, 80 people myself. It was about 100 hours of call. Yeah. Right? Now we're trying to go to the market, and we hired a person in our team, and his first job was to talk to 100 people. And with various demographics, because it's kind of a very strong selling process, right? When you want to sell to somebody, you want to first find out what their pain points are and use the same points to sell it back to them, right? So it's kind of a control loop process, right? You get the inputs, build your product on top of that, and use the same selling pain points to sell it back to them. So we're very, very, very focused on making sure that we're building it for the right audience, and we have the inputs from those guys.
Awesome. True. And obviously, right, Mayank, you also have worked abroad. You have worked in London, and you know how important it is to get the right. See, and you need high net worth. I mean, this is not someone who's a small in customer, right? You need someone who can really spend money with you, because new banking, cross border is so important for you. Okay. Exactly. Nice, very nice, Mayank. Very nice. Ashwin, sorry, you were saying something?
No, sorry. Actually, no, just I want to mimic what Mayank has said, right? Like we treat with respect to Customfit also, right? We treat customers as our PM. We listen for their problems, not the solutions. Okay. Like we try to get the problem statements. We try to come up with the solutions. Like basically, people will whenever the customer comes, right, he comes to the other thing. This is my problem. This is the solution I want. Okay. Basically, we try to say that just talk about the problem. Yeah. Then actually we'll try to give you the solution for that. Yeah. Right. That's one thing. And always actually we for us the bigger customers, like biggest customers, what we have on board. That's purely based on the kind of the support which we give. Like basically we have this WhatsApp channel created, Slack channel and all. We say that we are just a message away over there. Okay. Whatever with the time, even it's a midnight, like around the clock, we'll be just away a message. That's the one of the thing which we maintain in the team, that like there has to basically we should respond as quick as possible. That's the thing.
Amazing. So that means you stay very close to your customer in real time. You want to get back to them irrespective of time zones, etc. Right? But this is
exactly.
But again, right, Ashwin and Mayank, this takes a lot of bandwidth and effort, and it's a huge investment, isn't it? A huge investment.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has to have
it's very important, Vijetha, right? So I wanted to do it myself, honestly. I have taken a few calls myself, but of course I couldn't have spoken to 70, 80 people that we ended up speaking with, right? Organizing it, taking their time, people will cancel. We wanted to do video calls, that didn't happen. A lot of people want to do just phone calls. So we had to spend a month of one person's time. We had an intern and he had 2 interns, right? So there were 3 interns kind of doing this process for a month. And that's how we got around to doing it. So certainly an important process, and I think every company should do it at least 2 to 3 times a year. I would certainly say that, or at least we will try to do that at least every quarter if we can. Having some people just to do that, just to understand, as you say, Ashwin saying, kind of listening to them is important. I'm very happy that Ashwin pointed this out, that it's important to listen to the customers' problems, not bank on their solutions. Because what will end up happening if you do the latter is where if you listen to the problem, you probably end up solving for a very small set of customers. What you need to do is find out across all the people you speak with what is a common theme in the problem statement, and really try to solve for that so that it caters to a larger set of people rather than a small subset.
Interesting, very interesting. So I think like very deep dive conversations with customers, do it as often as possible, understand their problem, and then you can get your team, your processes, build trust, get sales. I think it solves a lot of problems when you're close to customers, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, that's a loud and clear message from you and from both of you, in fact, Ashwin and Mayank. So guys, it is 7:27. Okay, I thought we just started a few minutes back. I don't know how this time has this very bad habit of flying. Okay. So, so a few things, right? So now this is not just going to be a one-off process that we want to do, Mayank and Ashwin. We would also like to call upon you guys to build for us, a few simple things in the future where you're educating, I mean, as you're growing, right? Take some time out to educate other founders, and maybe again, we want to create this as a marketing and platform and a video marketing, whatever platform through Jagat's help and support. So, Jagat, what I would like to understand also from you, right? I mean, you have been evangelizing NASCOM. You're a time member, and you've been doing a lot of things to bring more and more founders together, right? And there'll be a lot of common problems that we are facing for everyone, correct? So, you, Mayank, and Ashwin. So, if you can just give a 1 minute thing, right? Okay, an insight, right? Now, you talked about problems. You'll try to offer each other some kind of thought process and solutions. But in the last 6 months, right? One insight of a challenge that you faced, which you could apply some of your innovation thought processes, bring the team in between, talk to customers, and maybe they give you some idea. Can you just throw some light around that? You talked about co-creation, right, Mayank? So
Yeah.
just give some insight around that, please. From all
Sure.
three.
Sure.
So as I kind of previously also said that it's very important for the problem, the key problem that you're facing to change every 3 months. If the key problems that you're focusing on are not changing every 3 months, then you're kind of stuck in some rut, and you need to kind of certainly seek external advice as to how to get out of that. So that's certainly been my mantra. Every 2-3 months, the problem statement that I need to focus on needs to change, right? We had a kind of an issue because our go-to-market strategy was foreign travelers. And we were growing, the foreign travelers out of India were growing at a massive pace, 25-30% year-on-year growth. We were talking about 50 million travelers in the next few years, up from 30 million that it currently stood last year. And we found ourselves, and we were hopeful that, fine, lockdown will disappear soon and people will start going abroad and so on and so forth. That certainly hasn't happened. So we needed to kind of pivot, not from product standpoint, maybe few features in the product, but certainly from the standpoint of the fact that why should somebody buy a product, right? They can't buy a product because 6 months down the line they're going to travel, right? So we spoke to our customers and we understood that what were the current feature set that we had already developed that they were facing a problem with while doing a domestic banking, and how can we use those features to sell it back to them, right? So that's the pivot we took, and that could only happen or bring conviction to the solution that we were building by talking to our potential customers, right? And I think that has really helped us quite a bit, and we will continue to do that in the near future.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mayank. That was very well done. Ashwin, would you like to?
Yeah, just to add to that thing, right? Like I will tell you one thing, okay, that changed our entire course. It's all about the prioritizing the kind of the work which you're doing. It's a roadmap blocks and all, like roadmap items and all, right? So that we came up with something called as a feature fit. It's a kind of every month. It used to be 2 weeks, okay. Now it's every month, where actually we directly go and discuss the entire roadmap we try to put in front of the customers. So, and that helped us, okay, in prioritizing few of the things. Earlier, okay, depending upon who is the big customer, and then it used to fall into their bucket. Now it's a very very specific, okay. We understand what's the tone of the customer with respect to the broader customer segment. So what's going on, what's not. That helped us really in giving exactly what they are looking, and also they know that at what point of the time, okay, some of the new features it will come. So they no need to, there is nothing of false assurance and all. They exactly know this is the point, this is the thing. And also, since actually it's every month this thing, they also know that how the priorities are changing. Awesome. And how they.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I think Jagat, you would say this small teams, Mayank, you also a small team. Benefits have to be given, features have to be built, priorities keep changing. kind of case competition, we not talk too much, but competition is also trying to build new and newer things. So how do you guys handle this, right? I mean, how do you prioritize? If you were like, if you had to give some insight very quickly to some of the founders out here in the product roadmap, customer pivots, etc., what is the criteria? How do you decide? And it can't be gut feeling, right? I mean, there has to be some kind of science or art behind these kind of decisions.
Okay, I'll go. It's been a while, so let me. One is to answer the previous question. 6 months, our learnings. I think we've been in a very interesting spot, right? I mean, we're probably one of the few companies in India doing video communications and conferencing webinars, and suddenly we have all the large companies dumping free product on everybody. That's not something you can plan for as a founder. But I think what it's taught me is that many times when you build, and our thing with video, of course, video conferencing has been there for a while, but my goal has always been to enable external communications, right? To give you a Bitphone ID that's unique. Customer clicks a button and talks to you. That's very different. It's taught us again the roots of being a startup, and that is innovation and imagination. And today, when we are doing, for example, Vmail, video CRM, other platforms, I think it really brings back to brings the focus to me back on innovation and imagination. What makes a startup really somebody who can give a threat to larger competition, right? So I think that's very important. We are in a very unique place. But the good thing is that I don't think anybody is winning the battle today because there is simply no money in anyone's business. So until video conferencing becomes a paid business completely, the winner is still there, right? So it's taught us a lot. I mean, it's taught us how we can just kind of knuckle down and we're just like crazy on product, right? So that helps us a lot. The question that you asked, Vijetha, specifically.
See, now you have, as you know, you talked about customers, you talked about features, benefits. What is the decision-making process?
Well, I look in the mirror many times, just to see. But honestly, the answer would be a mix of both. I think I'm not a guy who always looks at data. To be honest with you, I work a lot on intuition, and my intuition, I believe, gets stronger over time. Right? Not that I don't look at data at all, but I don't base everything on data simply because almost everybody has the same data. Your competition has similar data that you have, and I don't think you can really differentiate purely on data. You can only differentiate based on your intuition. And I really believe in that, right? So it's a mix of both. Today, obviously, as the product, initially, I think there is a lot of imagination in the product. And then as you have more customers, paying customers, it levels out into more data-driven sciences. But still, to make leapfrog innovation, you have to be imaginative and intuitive. I don't think pure data it can only give you incremental change. It can't give you disruptive changes. So mix of both, I think, is very critical for a founder.
Benjamin very famously said there are three kinds of lies: lies, damn lies, and statistics. Having said that, I am a purely data-driven person. I mean, I've been investing in stocks purely based on data for a very long time. I agree with you that there is a lot of backfitting of data. There's a lot of biases that can come out of data. But I feel that a lot of emotions can be taken out of the decision-making process if data is involved. That's just my personal view. The way we look at it is that you have a hypothesis that this might work, and then you go and have a conversation or whatever with a certain set of potential customers or something of that sort to validate that hypothesis or nullify that hypothesis as and when the case may be, right? So when we pivoted, we felt that the product that we were building could very well be suited for a domestic neo-banking customer as well, rather than just cross-border angle. But we had to talk to the customers to validate that our hypothesis was correct, right? So it wasn't quantitative data, that was qualitative data, but there was nevertheless data enough for us to verify our hypothesis.
So, Mayank, you're saying there's a lot of data that you use. You want to make sure that everything is, whatever. It could be the wrong decision still, but still, at least you had something to back up as to why you did what you did.
True. Yeah. No, in that line, right, Vijay, I want to tell one thing that when we started Customfit, right, if you see the personalization also, it's a kind of a guesswork, right? You want to showcase something in some way and you assume that, okay, people who are seeing this variant, it'll increase my number of conversions and all, right? So the basis where we started is the Customfit. The main motto when we started was how can we eliminate this guesswork, right? So very first thing in Customfit, it starts with helping you understanding your visitors. It's helping you understand what to personalize, when to personalize, and whom to personalize. Then, okay, second step is the personalization. That's the biggest differentiating factor what we are bringing in, that actually changed the whole game when we are trying to talk with revenue and against our competitors and all. So that's the
Yeah, but one thing I like to point out, Jagat, not that I'm completely nullifying what you're saying, right? You can never work on 100% data. If you are trying to get that 100% certainty with the data, you're probably late to the market anyway.
right,
Right? So
right.
it has to be a combination of data and imagination, right? For example, somebody was telling me that the first satellite or aircraft was built by Disney in the manner that in the comic books they should show something flying from one place to another.
Da Vinci probably. Yeah.
Huh? Without
Da Vinci. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, certain amount of data and imagination and intuitiveness, which will come from certainly experience, right? That a person drives, or the insights you might have about the industry. So yeah, certainly it can't be 100% data. It has to be a
Sure,
combination.
sure, sure.
Yeah, perfect, man. Guys, so listen, it's 7:37, so we should kind of wind up. But what I would like from each one of you is some of the productivity tools that you'll use in terms of self-learning. I repeat, not just for running your business, but when we talk about coaches, mentors, informal board, that's what so this is all about, right? So how does this work? So I think Jagat has just put something about zenhabits.net. Okay. So a very quick share, whatever comes to the top of your mind on some of the things that you look at. Coaching, mentoring, productivity for self as a founder.
Yeah.
How do you manage?
Yeah, so I would say that I try to read as much as I can. I mean, by the time I get back home, I probably only get half an hour, 40 minutes to read, but I try to read as much as I can. And from a mentoring standpoint, I have a big problem wherein I want to buy a watch from a watchmaker, right? I don't want to buy an Armani watch, right? Because those guys are a design company. So similarly, I only can my brain will only trigger and listen to somebody when somebody's done something, right? So I don't like people giving me advice on fundraising when they haven't done it themselves. I don't like people telling me about product. It's not that I don't like; it's that my brain is not going to accept that advice. So the believability factor has to be higher. That only comes from, at least for me, from people who have done it themselves, right? So I try to kind of reach out to a lot of mentors in the sense founders within the community to ask them for specific advice. That was I'm struggling with this. Any advice that you have, and so on and so forth, and that helps me rather than just kind of theoretically going and reading about it somewhere.
Okay,
True,
awesome,
true.
awesome.
Same here, Mayank. Like in my case, also, like I just want to get the one is to one kind of the help. That will definitely, it's a kind of a crafted or customized for you. That's
Yeah.
one thing. And having said that, I also these days are getting into habit of listening a lot of podcasts. That's what my routine since last 6 7 months. Like I used to like basically I listen to these Master of Scales, Startup Page. There are a bunch of the like even our SaaS Star, even SaaS Boomi podcast. These are all the things which comes from their experience. 'Cause certain things when you go and ask, then it's kind of the pull kind of the thing, right? This is the push, so that has to be balanced. Like that's
And then you're like, this problem I also face.
correct, correct. It's sometimes okay. Like it happened to me a lot of times. Then I ping them on the LinkedIn and this thing that I just want to discuss about this particular problem.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
that's true.
Just wanna add my last note probably. I've been following a person called Leo Babalka for a long time. Zenhabits.net.
Uh-huh.
Basically, there was the GTD, getting things done. He's basically got a Zen approach to it called ZTD. It's called Zen to Done, and been a big fan. The way he structures it, just very quickly, just he basically says, you have MITs, which is your most important tasks in a day, 2 or 3, and big rocks that you put in the week, 3 or 4 big rocks you need to complete. This is the overall framework, very simplistic, very minimalistic kind of framework. And of course, I've been a fan of Tim Ferriss for like a decade now. I always appreciate what he says, and I think he's got a lot of value. So, a couple of notes from my end.
Yeah, this book is kind of lying. I gotta read it next week for
Sure.
our.
Awesome, super awesome. So, guys, I think though we have so much more to talk about and discuss, but it's 1 hour 10 minutes into the game. So, thank you
Okay.
so much. This was a very interesting, a lot of learning for me as well. So, really appreciate this, Jagat, Mayank, and Ashwin. Thank you so much, and for all your insights, resources, and your time and energy. Okay, because without that, the ecosystem can never grow. So, let's keep this community going. And thank you so much. This was a very beautiful conversation, everyone. And any closing remarks, and then we can call up this session of the Startup Sunday to a close. Thank you so much, guys. Please go ahead. Any closing remarks, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ecosystem only goes stronger when kind of people come together. So happy to be part of it here. I'm happy to kind of have be a part of more discussions going forward. Happy to help in any capacity.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Mayank.
thanks. Yeah, thanks, guys. Okay, just a salesman in me is trying to asking me to go on. Like, hey, visitors, just go to customfit.ai. Just check it out, our platform. Help
Actually,
convert
we
your
would
leads.
like to connect. I've shared the link with my marketing chaps. So we'll probably have a call offline.
Sure, sure, definitely.
Yeah, just last note from my side. Thanks so much to Mayank and Ashwin again. Thanks, Vijetha, for taking your time. I just hope there was some value that people could, learn a little bit. That would be a success for me in the event. And just a small request, if you can, recommend a founder as well for the coming sessions. That would be a
Sure,
great help for us. And I think
Sure.
Ashwin's not on our founder feed LXS team, so I think Vijetha, we can probably add Ashwin and
sure.
Yeah,
Please,
make sure. Ashwin,
I
we
would
will
love to be on that.
definitely
Yeah,
add Ashwin, okay?
yeah.
And of course, it helps to help others. That's what is very important. And guys, keep growing, right? A few months from now, we would love to have you back in whatever capacity in our various platforms across the
With
community.
new learnings.
New learnings, and I like Ashwin, nice T-shirt that you're wearing. That's a nice one.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the branding. The sales guy, man, he has to have his branding out there, right? So that's beautiful. So guys, thank you very much. Really kind.
Guys, appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks,
take
guys.
care, guys.
Bye.
Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the evening. Take care. Bye, Jagat. Take care, everyone.